All right, hello everybody. My name is Lindsay Hamner and I'm going to be presenting today on the topic of civic engagement, specifically applying civic engagement to your student organizations. To begin, just like a quick overview of what I'm going to be talking about today. First, I'm going to start off with some introductions, move into some definitions of civic engagement. Then I'm going to present a tool that helps us think about civic engagement. It's called the Active Citizen Continuum. And then finally, we're going to learn how to apply this continuum and what we've learned today to your student organizations. So I hope that this presentation is useful to you all and that you find value in the framework that I'm going to share today. So to begin, I just want to introduce myself a little bit. My name is Lindsay Hamner. I'm a master's student at K-State. I'm pursuing my Master of Public Administration degree. I actually got my undergrad at K-State as well and loved it so much that I decided to stay. My role professionally at the university is I serve as a hands-on K-State coordinator, and I'll talk a little bit about that program in the next slide. And then I also serve as the Nonprofit Leadership Certificate Graduate Assistant. So that's another academic program we have at the Staley School of Leadership Studies. And I have just a lot of experience with service. I'm really passionate about it, whether that's local, regional. I've also traveled internationally to participate in service programs over the summer as well. So definitely a topic that I love. And obviously I know that you guys love too because you're here attending this conference. So it's very exciting. So like I mentioned, I work at the Staley School at K-State. And then this presentation is largely based off of the frameworks that we use in two of our programs. And so I just want to briefly introduce those as well. Hands-on K-State is the program I primarily work with. And our mission statement is right there to promote civic learning and leadership through meaningful service and volunteer opportunities. But the way I like to describe it is we just connect the campus to the broader Manhattan community through meaningful service, hopefully creating some civic engagement opportunities there and just continuing to allow students to pursue their passion of community service and volunteerism throughout their time in college. Another program at the Staley School is Alternative Breaks, and this is a service learning program that provides students the opportunity to engage in social change. And this happens over winter break and over spring break and then a few weekends throughout the year. And they actually travel to a regional site around the country to participate in service and to learn about a specific social issue. So these two programs work a lot with what I'm going to present today. So I just thought I'd give them a little shout out here at the beginning to provide more context to you all. So what is civic engagement? I feel like this is a great place to start because I feel like it's a term that a lot of people say or use and may not totally know what it means. So the definition found in the article Civic Responsibility in Higher Education is as follows. Civic engagement means working to make a difference in the civic life of our communities and developing the combination of knowledge, skills, values, and motivation to make that difference. A few other just short little definitions of civic engagement that we have found is that it just means promoting the quality of life in a community through both political and non-political processes. A morally and civically responsible individual recognizes himself or herself as a member of a larger social fabric and therefore considers social problems to be at least partly his or her own. And finally, one useful definition of civic engagement is the following: individual and collective actions designed to identify and address issues of public concern. So I hope that these different definitions, at least one of them, maybe speaks to you and gives you a little more context as to what I mean when we talk about civic engagement. And something else that I think is important to point out here is that civic engagement is more than volunteering. I don't say this because I think volunteering is bad. Volunteering is great. It's wonderful. According to CNCS, which is the Corporation for National Community Service, they do studies every year or so that study the value of volunteer time. And according to their most recent study in 2018, the volunteer time in the state of Kansas here is worth about $25 an hour. So this act of volunteering is very important to our social service organizations and to organizations trying to create change in our community. So volunteering is great. And it's very popular, right? Over the over the past 15 years, Americans volunteered for a total of 120 billion hours, which is estimated to be worth just a little less than $3 trillion. That's crazy. But that's awesome. Volunteering is very popular and it's a great way to get involved and to make change. But I just want to remind you all that it's not the only solution, and it's not the only way to engage with our communities to create change. So now moving on to the active citizen continuum. This is a framework that's used mostly in our alternative breaks program, where they travel to engage with a specific social issue in the Midwest. Here's the continuum, just so you can begin reading it. It goes from member to volunteer to conscientious citizen to active citizen. So what is this continuum? It's a model for tracking growth in a person's connection to social justice challenges. So it is a continuum. It's not necessarily stagnant. You're not stuck in one place along the continuum. And it's also important to remember that we as humans, like, we have limited time and resources. We can't all be at the active citizen point for every single social issue we care about. It's just not feasible. This is just a good tool to look at to kind of measure where your values and priorities are and where you might be along this continuum. It's also important to remember that you may be passionate about more than one issue, and you can be somewhere on this continuum for multiple issues. So for example, you might be a volunteer when it comes to the issue of food security, but you may be an active citizen in the issue of voter rights. And you may be a member in the issue of sustainability just because you're more passionate about other areas, and that's totally cool. So once again, this is just a good framework that kind of helps you put words to what you're feeling and what you're thinking regarding these social issues. So these are some questions that I just encourage you to think through on a personal level. So identify a social issue that you care about. So just right now, just think about what's something that I really care about, and what's another way we talk about that is define your service for what. So why do you like to do service? Why do you like to be engaged in your community? Is it because of issues of equity? Is it issues of environmental justice? You name it, but just the first thing that maybe pops in your head about the issue that you really care about. And then when considering that specific issue that you have in your head, where might you place yourself along this continuum? Are you a volunteer? Are you a conscientious citizen? Are you maybe at one of those arrows in between? Are you the red arrow or the purple arrow, moving to the next stage, but not quite there yet? Just kind of think about, reflect where you might be. Then maybe think about, okay, if I'm a volunteer, what are some steps that I can take to move myself forward in the continuum? What are some action steps or ways that you think you can involve yourself that would push yourself towards becoming an active citizen? And I want to remind you that there's no bad place to be on the continuum. If you're a member, that's not bad. If you're a volunteer, again, not bad. We are all just doing the best we can here. And once again, a framework is just something that helps you provide context to what you're thinking and your values and actions. Finally, then consider, would you place yourself at a different point in the continuum when thinking about a different social issue? So what's maybe your second issue, or an issue that you maybe used to engage with but don't engage with anymore? Like I said, you can be anywhere on the continuum with any number of things. So these are just some good questions to begin to apply this continuum. And you can even take a picture of these questions and take them back to your student organization and have each individual think about their personal service for what, or what they care about in order to introduce the continuum to them. So now that we have explained civic engagement broadly and what the active citizen continuum is, now I want to give you some tips on how to engage your organization in this type of work. So where should we start? That's what you may be asking me. Well, I think a great place to start is to identify your organizational purpose and values. So why does your organization exist? Are you a service organization? Do you exist to serve? Maybe. Are you a membership organization? Do you seek to provide professional development? Are you a Greek organization? There's all kinds of different organizations and they exist for different reasons. after you identify like kind of what your purpose is and lay out some values of your organization, then I would encourage you to think about how those values and purposes may tie into a specific social issue. And then that issue can maybe be something that your organization then seeks to make a difference in your community while you're in college. So once you kind of have some background knowledge on that and you know what your purpose and values are and maybe a couple social issues that are important to you or your members, then do what we just did in the last slide. Place your organization on the continuum based on that social issue. Then once you know where you are, you can figure out how to move forward. So then you might brainstorm areas of growth and action steps to move your organization further along the continuum. And then finally, I just want to stress the importance of reflection and evaluation. So maybe you identify that you're just a volunteer. Your organization is just acting as a volunteer, but you want to move towards that conscientious citizen. If that's the case, then maybe that transition involves thinking more about the root causes. So maybe you're going to do some research with your organization about the root causes of the issue that you care about. Maybe you're going to ask each member to go and serve at an organization that provides educational background before you do the service, again, to get that knowledge of the root causes in addition to your service. Whatever your action step may be, then after that action step is done, then you can reflect on it. Was it meaningful? Did it accomplish the goal? Do you feel like you're further along or moving towards that goal of being an active citizen? And then just kind of evaluate the process and then start over. It can be cyclical. So if it didn't work out the way you wanted, or if you didn't gain the education that you thought you might, then you just start over, brainstorm some more action steps that you can take and just continue moving forward. So putting it into practice, I know that I'm talking kind of up in the clouds a little bit and not providing a lot of concrete examples. So I kind of want to do this in this slide. So if you're an organization who really cares about sustainability, maybe right now you're just a volunteer. Maybe you and your organization participate in community cleanups around the city. Maybe you are promoting Earth Day, whatever that may be. Maybe you're involved in recycling initiatives, but you consider yourself just a volunteer because you're not sure what the root causes are behind this issue that you care about. So to move to being a conscientious citizen, maybe your organization can take time to brainstorm a speaker that they want to bring to campus. Maybe they can partner with other organizations on campus and sponsor bringing an expert on the topic in, and then hosting a webinar, right now in the times of COVID, or even a lecture in the future of someone coming in and speaking to this issue and educating others. That's one easy step from just serving to becoming more conscientious. Additionally, maybe you're kind of at the beginning of the continuum. You realize that your organization may not have a specific social issue, but you decide that you really care about food insecurity issues and you really care that everyone in your community has something to eat every night. That's a great issue and something we talk a lot about here at K-State. So maybe, this is your first time, you've nailed down your issue and you want to engage with food insecurity. So you're just a member right now. You're looking to be a volunteer. So what's the first step you can do to volunteer? Well, you can connect with organizations who are doing this work in your community. You can ask them what they need, how to serve with them. You could maybe run a food drive or volunteer at the local food pantry or something like that, and just take that step into serving and really making a difference in that area. So those are just two examples of what it might look like to put it into practice for you and your organization. And this can look different, again, depending on what your purpose and values are. So this is kind of my charge to you all, like why wait? Right now, we're experiencing just a lot of changes and difficulties due to trying to be a college student in the middle of this pandemic, right? And maybe your organization is service-based and you're used to doing all kinds of volunteering, and all of a sudden you can't because of safety issues or concerns. Well, I just want to remind you guys that the times are ripe for innovation and creativity. you can think about you can think about things in different ways that you've never thought about before. COVID-19 may be causing us to press pause on some areas, like maybe we can't do the service event that we normally have done, but that doesn't mean we remain idle. I think this is a great opportunity for students and student organizations to have these conversations, to sit down with their members and engage, present these continuums, and have everyone just brainstorm and be creative and innovate about how do we move forward, and what do we want this organization to look like on the other side of this pandemic? What can we maybe be planning for next year or the year after that, that may be just different and more fresh and exciting than we've ever done before? It's frustrating that things are getting canceled or being put on hold. That doesn't mean we stop, and that doesn't mean we give up. It means that we take this time to really talk to each other and to plan and to come up with these new and fresh ideas. And I really, really believe that. So I hope that you guys find something really, really valuable out of this presentation, even if it's just the continuum or just a few questions that you want to ask your student organization. But I hope that this just provides you guys with some life and some ways to move forward if you feel like you're stuck right now. So that's my presentation. Thank you for coming and listening. I really appreciate it. I just put my contact info here on this last slide. You can reach me at that email. Additionally, I put our website, the Staley Schools website, if you want to look through any of our program pages and see what we're up to or what we're doing. You're more than welcome to do that. I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have via email. If you are stuck with your student organization and you really like what I had to share today, but you're not sure how to move forward, feel free to reach out. I'd love to set up a Zoom meeting with you at another time and just chat about how this can help you and your student organization. But yeah, so I think that's all I have. So feel free again to reach out with any questions you have. And I really hope you guys enjoy the rest of your conference.